G'day everyone, and welcome to another episode of Drew's Adventures. Hope you're all keeping well. I'm in Mount Crawford Forest, which is north of Adelaide, and it's mostly an artificial forest now. These are all Radiata Pines that have been planted over the years since the late 1800s. The reason I've come up here is twofold: to see about some gold, if possible, but also to have a look at what is happening with our fungi. Now, we do get quite a number of species of fungus in South Australia, and unfortunately, because it's been so dry, it has been a very poor season to see the fungus growing. But these ones here are pretty awesome. I think these are a field mushroom. However, I don't recommend that you go and pick and eat any mushroom whatsoever from the wild unless you really know what you're doing. Because we all know there's a case in Australia, which I won't mention, but essentially, you can get very, very sick from mushrooms. You can eat them once, that's for sure, but you may not ever eat them again. But I really love this particular type here. This is a bracket fungus. And if you look very carefully, you can see why it's called that, because it is living on the side of this old dead pine branch here. And there's another one there, a younger looking one there, sort of an orangey colour. Very beautiful. Now, we've had very little rain in South Australia and very little moisture at all in our metropolitan region. So probably the chances are we're not going to find a whole lot, but it's all about looking for the smallest little bits of colour, and sometimes what you might find might surprise you. As you can see, I'm walking down into a gully at the moment, and the gullies are obviously where the water is going to pool up, if there is much water at all in this forest. But we'll have a look. Oh, here we go. Found some more over here. I love the patterns on these. Check them out. How cool is that? Really quite like that. Sort of like little scales almost. That's cool. So this is all commercial timber plantations up here in Mount Crawford. Same with Crimestoppers Forest and a number of others in the southeast of South Australia. So much of this will be harvested when it reaches a certain height and length, I assume, thickness. I don't know what their rule is, if they've got a certain rule of how many years they leave these to grow for on an average. This here, I think, is a rose bush, oddly enough, or a rose hip. Tell me what you think. Is that a rose hip? I don't know. I'm not clued on when it comes to rose bushes and species of them, but someone will know. Let's wander down here. It's a very peaceful place, I have to say. I love it. Here we go, some more fungi here. Now, there is a species that I have featured on the channel before, and it is a ghost fungus. However, these are not that species. Love how this one's poking out here. Literally looks like a piece of the original tree in a way. Same sort of colour. Get that yellow staining. And we've got some big uns down here. This is cool. It's an interesting one. It almost looks like it's tried to put its spores out all around its gills. You can see that sort of rust colour in the pine needles. Oh, here's a ripe old bunch. Look at that, folks. You can see there's little flies and things living on them too. That's really cool. If you look very, very closely, you see those little flies there? That's cool. Of course, we are at the end of autumn here in Australia, and normally you would see the Amanita muscarias and a few other cool species of mushrooms out this way, but they just aren't coming up. It's only these ones here. Oh, these are cool. They're like a little crown on the side of this old stump. Check it out, folks. Must be just enough moisture inside that bark layer. Oh, isn't that interesting? I reckon an animal's burrowed through this. Look at this. Either that or the termites are still pretty active. Termites have definitely gone through that wood. Never ever seen a stump quite like that, I have to say. It's fascinating. It's been hollowed out. And yeah, I'm going to say something's definitely moved this soil out because it's very dry. Perhaps an echidna, a kangaroo, deer. Werner and I were determined to find even more in the Mount Crawford Forest Reserve, and I'd seen myself a memorial that I was desperate to find again. Now, I'm going to put up the original photos of this memorial when I first discovered it in 2022, but we're also going to have a look at it now as it looks in 2025. Right here is what remains of a memorial to someone called Sean. Now, I will put up a photo that I took a while ago of the memorial, and this would have been about 2 years ago now, but you can all see that very interesting cross up here, and there was actually a proper little memorial on the ground with a cross in it as well, and it mentioned his full name and details. So I don't know why that's been removed. I don't really know what the story is, if someone's moved the plaque or if it's been damaged. I don't know the full story. I couldn't find the full story about why this memorial was put here. It may be as simple as he was a forest lover, I don't know. Or it may be far more nefarious, that something very tragic happened to him up here. As Werner and I travelled further into the forest and nearing the end of the day, I decided that I wanted to have a look at another memorial. This one for a lady who was unalived in the mid-2000s, and it's quite a sad story. It is also a story that is unsolved. There has still never been justice for Emma Jade Pawelski. Emma Jade Pawelski was last seen walking along Regency Road at Prospect in Adelaide on the 26th of November 2005, 2 days after she'd walked out of a house she shared with her partner in Payneham. While no one knows where she was heading, her badly beaten and burnt body was found on the side of a remote track 300 metres off of a gate in Mount Crawford Forest near Williamstown 8 days later. She was still wearing the same clothes, and it's believed that she was unalived in another location. A suspect known to Miss Pawelski has been identified, but unfortunately, this crime has never been solved. A reward of 200,000 Australian dollars remains on offer to anyone who provides information leading to a conviction in the case.